Welcome to Maastricht University India Institute. Today we have a very distinguished guest speaker, Professor Shiv Vishvanathan. Professor Vishwanathan has a multifaceted personality. He's a professor of anthropology, he's a journalist, he's a film critic, and he's a writer. Right now he's working on a book on energy and democracy. Welcome, Professor Vishwanathan. It's very nice to have you here. While talking to you, I find it very interesting that you mentioned about the possibility of this playful interaction between democracies, and you talk about how it should be between, say, India and Europe. Could you please elaborate a bit on it?
You see, I think what's really happened is, I think a relation between Europe and India have been reduced to the dismal nature of aid, trade and tourism. It's become too business-like, too official, too bureaucratic. It's almost become a kind of social contract. So there's no sense of two communities talking. And I think by allowing play to enter into it, you tend to have interactions which go beyond the official, which do not terminate at the moment of contact, but most of all, it allows for the possibility of a certain kind of playfulness. I think play is crucial to the encounter of India and Europe. And for me, play is a superior form of seriousness. It's superior to the seriousness of business. I think what it does, it becomes an exercise in discovery, it becomes an exercise in innovation, and it in fact allows for thought experiments. So in this sense, for me, I think the ideal person who played with Europe in that sense was Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
A man who could say, when asked, what do you think of Western civilization? And he says, it would be a good idea. He's not providing just a critique.
Right.
He is providing an invitation to a variety of playful encounters, saying, let's do it again, let's do it playfully, let's do it with a level of seriousness which transcends ordinary seriousness. And playfulness offers you that, the possibility of self-discovery and the possibility of surprise.
That's quite fascinating that Gandhi figures prominently in your discussion. Can you elaborate a bit more on why Gandhi and the role of Gandhi, or maybe such other examples that you can?
See, I think Gandhi was a text which had 100 pretexts and contexts. All the national movement was in a way a conversation with Gandhi. So Nehru talked to Gandhi, Kumaraswamy talked to Gandhi, Geddes talked to Gandhi, a whole generation of Europeans talked to Gandhi. Gandhi allowed for the playfulness of conversation and the variety and polysemy of interpretations. There's no one interpretation. And I think in that sense, Gandhi had the confidence to talk to Europe. I think Hind Swaraj was an attempt to talk to modernity. In fact, Hind Swaraj, his greatest, one of the earliest texts that he wrote, was an attempt to rescue the British from the modernity. The conversation of Europe begins with our freedom movement, because our freedom movement was not an attempt to throw out the British. That was only one part of it. It was an attempt to rescue the British from their own violence. That's cultural confidence. And I think if you look at it very closely, hundreds of experiments that took place within the freedom movement, the national movement, the theosophist encounter, the vitalist encounters, the fact that painters like Rorik go to India to create a different idea of painting in color, I think are examples of the fact that there are new playful encounters possible, and they're present. Gandhi represents the cultural confidence. Gandhi also represents the idea that everything from satyagraha to walking becomes the cultural conference and conversation of civilizations. In that sense, I think for me, Gandhi is an ethical clown. And what I proposed was an encounter between Gandhi and the Dutch historian Johan Huizinga. Huizinga wrote a book on play. And in fact, he got some of the ideas of play while doing his early thesis on the clown in Indian drama. So at one level, you have the ethical clown in Gandhi, and you have the aesthetic clown in Huizinga. And a meeting of the clowns creates the possibility of a social drama of conversations, maybe a tragicomedy of what Europe and India can do to each other through talking, through conversation, through persuasion. Where the logic is not violence, where the logic is not the coerciveness of a contract, but the logic is the pure possibility of play. To use Hermann Hesse's title, there are two magister ludis playing in a more ethical context.
Interesting point that I figure out is how you explain this interaction of insider and outsider. You mentioned that actually while the West is struggling to deal with, or to on this question how to deal with the outsiders of